Today I'll be teaching you guys how to write a good expository essay, and this guide is mainly for those taking the O-level or N-level syllabus, but it can also be applied for anyone taking pretty much any standard English exam. So let's get started. So let's just start with, what is this kind of essay? Expository, it's kind of hard to pronounce, expository essay or writing. What I can say is it's merely an essay that is factual in nature, and that the main purpose is to educate the reader. What is not is to persuade or to entertain. And this is a common theme for essays that are argumentative in nature, which is the persuasion factor, or maybe those of descriptive or narrative, or those to tell a story. And while these two essays are important, the main purpose of expository writing or essays is to give information. So once you know all these factors of what makes an expository essay, we can know some of the questions. So some of the common questions are probably how to maintain a healthy lifestyle, or another common one nowadays is what effect does technology have on schools? Something like that. Although this is not really a good example, because this can have positive or negative connotations, but generally, if you're writing an expository essay, then you need to talk about both equally. So like 2 points, 2 points, something like that. Maybe a last one would be how can bullying in a workplace be prevented? Stuff like that. These are all good prompts for your essay, and they're pretty common too, especially I think the first one, maybe the second. They're more common for O-levels nowadays, and N-levels too. So on this side, I have basically your main, actually I forgot one, proofread. That's the last point, but these are the main steps that I take whenever I want to write this kind of essays. So read, thesis, plan, intro, body, conclusion. Pretty much the most important part is this three. And although these three other points are basically what you're writing, but these 3 steps are the most important in whether or not you are able to write your essays in a coherent or understandable manner. So let's go through them. So first step is to read. Reading. So what does reading mean? Obviously you need to, if you're taking English, you know how to read English, right? So you need to know what your question is. Question is, for example, if let's say you have this question, how to maintain a healthy lifestyle, you need to read this question very carefully. And typically what I'll do is I'll highlight some of the keywords. So is maintain healthy lifestyle. I mean, it's pretty much more than, it's basically half the question, but these 3 prompts are very important. So when you are dealing with a question that you particularly like, or in this case, in the O-level syllabus, you have 4 questions, and one of them is expository essay, I'll recommend you to like analyze all 4 questions, but if you only have one that you want to write, then you can zoom in on that one question. So in this case, maintain healthy lifestyle. And realistically, you probably only have like 10 minutes at most to plan for all this, maybe 15 minutes if you are really diligent. But there's not really a lot of time. So what I'll do is I'll take these 3 keywords and then I'll expand on it. What do I think of when I see these 3 keywords? Maintain. Maintain means an action, probably something that a person will have to adopt to maintain a healthy lifestyle, or a type of resolution, or maybe something to basically something to do in general. When I think of healthy, I think of, well, food is important, maybe like exercise. That's all the common parts. And then maybe like mental health, that's pretty important nowadays too. So draw on these 3 keywords. Lifestyle. So this means that you have to adopt it regularly. Adopt it. Or make it, or you can rephrase it, make it part of your life. Or life. So after you understand this, the question prompt, make sure you use it carefully and you understand what the prompt is basically asking you to do and what kind of information you need to provide. For example, right, if I say technology, right, I'm not going to start talking about like, I don't know, books, or when someone says school, I'm not going to talk about the workplace. No. And it does happen when, especially if you're under exam conditions, where people like freak out and they miss the question prompt, or they misinterpret the question and they lose out a lot of content marks because of it. So that's something you need to take note. So this is number 1, read the question prompt. Oops. So read, done. Read number 1. Another thing to do is to write your thesis. So what is a thesis statement? If you don't know what a thesis statement is, it's basically a statement that summarizes your entire essay. Probably make so thesis statement that summarizes your entire essay. So normally this statement have like roughly 2 or 3 sentences that state your position on the topic and how you support it with evidence. And that is the official definition, but if you want me to just say it in layman terms, it's basically this summarizes your essay. It will present you the main parts of your essay or what points you're going to be talking about in just 1 sentence, or maybe 2 if you need it. So when I say that this is the second part, basically this thing means plan points, taking your points, the points of your essay. So in this case, right, if you have how to maintain a healthy lifestyle, you have 3 points. I mean, ideally you want more, but sometimes our brain can't take out that many without any prompts on like AI. So let's say, healthy lifestyle, eating well, exercising regularly, sleep is pretty important, and social well-being, social, mental, whatever, right? So out of these few points, you might want to select the ones that are most appropriate, or one of the prompts that you can elaborate the most in your essay. So in this case, I'll probably choose like these 3 because they're pretty standard, right? They're very easy to write, rather than social and mental, where I will probably have to like exfoliate one of my points more. Like I gotta say a lot of stuff to finally make my point, which is not wrong, but it'll be very hard to do, and you do have a time limit on your exam, right? You only have like 40 to 15 minutes to write your section C or your what's it called? Your open-ended writing. So after you have selected your points, and then you can try to squeeze it into one sentence. Like, for example, one of the main points of one of the ways that we can maintain a healthy lifestyle or adopt a healthy lifestyle is to eat well, exercise regularly, and sleep. Have sufficient sleep. Stuff like that. It's simple. Of course, you can use fanciful language, but if you want to do well, focus on your basics first and then build your way up from there. So that is thesis statement. Third, plan. So this is the part that most people skip out on when they write their essays, and I don't really blame them because it seems kind of redundant. Like, it has only so much thing. You have like 40 minutes. I'm going to spend like 10 minutes planning this. No, I can write like one whole paragraph with that. But I'm not saying that you should spend a lot of time planning, but you should spend at least 3 to 5 minutes at least, because you should have a rough idea on how your essay is going to look like once you have a thesis statement. But the question is whether or not how you're going to order this together, how you're going to link the paragraphs together, that kind of stuff. So let's say I want to put eating well. Okay, I'll put this on the next point. Oops. Plan. So let's say I want to put eating well. That's my first point. And then exercise. And then sleep. And then obviously intro, outro. Right? So the question is, how are you going to link these 2 points together, or these 2 points? Because that is the part where most people neglect, which is basically a factor in like coherency, or like how well your essay flows. And most people miss out on that. So you might want to think about that when you're writing your essay question. Another point is how well you can link all these points to your main thesis statement. Thesis, and also how does it answer the question? The question. Right? And if you can manage to check on these 2, then your planning is pretty much good to go. And also, I mean, on the side, you also think of what evidence you need, like in your head, and also how you want to link it together, that kind of stuff. But I'll say these 3 steps are probably one of the most important steps to do in your essay. Okay. So now that we are done with all this crap, now we have to focus on the important part, which is actually writing your essay. So this is the part where everyone is kind of freaking out about, but well, the only thing I can say is practice kind of makes perfect, and you need to practice a lot of essays to time yourself and to write fast enough to match up like your thoughts with your words, you know what I mean? Okay, so let's start with intro. So these 3 forms your essay portion. So generally intros have a structured layout to it. So typically you have your hook, and then your intro or background, and then your thesis statement. And arguably one of the most important parts of the intro is to have your thesis statement, because without this, people don't know what your essay is about. It can be literally about anything, and you can be against the topic and they wouldn't know. Which is why if you had to forgo any part of your intro, which you shouldn't anyway, please don't forget your thesis. Okay, so let's elaborate on hook. So hook is basically something that will grab your reader's attention. Most of the common ones are like rhetorical questions or background or something that shocks the reader, or a metaphor, or these kind of flowery languages. Oh, I just realized I spelled rhetorical wrongly. So this is something that will grab your read. Oops. Ugh. Wait, why is it acting up? So this will grab your reader's attention. So typically this includes rhetorical questions or language or metaphors, use of metaphors, or linking back to the current situation. Or past situation. Something like that. This is the basics that I can think of right off the bat, but I'm pretty sure you can think of more. Something basically will grab your reader's attention. Oh, another one would be a shocking fact. Probably a shocking shock. So like, let's say someone says, oh, did you know that 2 out of 3 Americans are obese? Something like that. Something that will basically be like, wow. Wow. Okay, so next slide is intro. So this is like a plus to have, I'll be honest. Because you can't really go straight from, did you know that Americans are fat, to, well, these are some ways to beat out the obesity, that kind of stuff. So you can't really go straight from your hook to your thesis without it sounding a bit clunky or a bit rushed. So that's why I will emphasize that this is basically the link between your hook and your thesis. And also it provides a nice like glide for your readers to flow into the essay. So typically I'll just give literally is a name, background information. Background info about the topic or the relevancy to your thesis. So in this case, right, in this case of this healthy lifestyle question, if I were to use the American statistics, oh, I forgot to write that. Oh, can I squeeze in here? Statistics. There's another hook you can use to emphasize my point. Then maybe your nice food would be, this is because blah blah blah, Americans are blah blah blah, eating too much fast food, that kind of stuff. Therefore, there are some ways, or however, there are still some ways that we can prevent this unhealthy lifestyle and adopt healthier habits. And then that will lead nicely to my thesis. So thesis, you can just reuse whatever you did for your original thesis planning, but obviously write it nicely. So in this case, if I were to write, oh, my main points would be exercising well. What is it? Exercising well, eating well, exercising regularly, and having sufficient sleep. Then I'll just say some of the ways in which people adopt, sorry for my ugly handwriting, by the way, healthier lifestyles is eating well, and then blah 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 blah. So that is pretty much a thesis statement. Of course, you can probably write better than me, but I am just making the main points in this short video. So that is your introduction. So these are the, just remember, hook, intro or background, and then your thesis. Most importantly, your thesis. Okay, so now we're left with the body paragraph. Generally, the body paragraph have a few factors to it. So like how the hook, intro, and thesis make up the actual introduction paragraph. The body paragraphs, mainly maybe like 3 to 4 of them, have this format which everyone is familiar with, which is peel. But this format is kind of a bit stiff or a bit
Dry.
Dry. Hi, Savion. So, I'll suggest you to just follow P and L, and the rest you can just interchange or write whatever feels natural to you. Of course, granted that it makes sense lah. So in the first P, which is basically your points, this is your summary of your body paragraph. Oops. So if you were to summarize the paragraph in one statement, then it will be this. Like, let's say the point will be eating well, and if you literally just write, oh, many people, one of the ways that people adopt a healthy lifestyle would be to eat nutritional food. The body paragraph mainly explains your topic using, for the E, the first E will be evidence. Okay, for this evidence and explanation, and then your link. So this is what PL stands for. So evidence mainly facts or examples or stats, quotes, or other relevant information to your essay. Obviously, don't pull it up from your ass, and don't like make up stats on the spot, but at least make it a bit more realistic. You know what I mean? Obviously, also use connectors. I feel like this is a bit of a grammar thing, but connectors or transition words. Transition words, such as, for example, or additionally, or thus, these kind of words. They make it clear that it's an example. Make sure it has a logical flow of ideas. So if you're gonna use thus, make sure the statement before it makes sense, because this is what links, or this is basically what explains the evidence in your paragraph. And lastly, you need to link it. Mainly the link is either to the next paragraph or to the thesis statement, either one, whichever makes more sense. The link is basically what it suggests, the link to the next paragraph, or how to relevantly transition your first paragraph to the second paragraph, or second paragraph to the third paragraph, that sort of thing. Generally, this is what is important for your coherency factor. So if you suddenly to make a point about eating, how can you link this to, let's say, exercising? That is something the link has to do. Okay, so lastly, this is the conclusion of your essay. The most favorite part, obviously. In the conclusion, you just have to summarize your main points, or you can just restate this thesis. So, restating the thesis. And it should not introduce any new points. So it's not introducing new points. So whatever you made in your body paragraphs or your thesis statement, that should be it. Shouldn't have any more new ideas or new information or new arguments, because it's already done in your body paragraphs. And it might appear that you're rushing your essay. And if this isn't like natural, like if you don't want to paraphrase or restate it, that's fine. Normally, if possible, I'll just skip this part because it makes it seem a bit robotic in nature. So a better way you can conclude your paragraph is to just finish off and leave your reader with a good impression. So leave reader with a good impression. It could be like another rhetorical question, or in fact an answer to your rhetorical question at the start of your essay, or it could be a call to action where you want the reader to do a certain thing or take away a certain lesson from your essay. So in all these cases of healthy lifestyle, you want the reader to adopt these healthy lifestyles not because of or because you told them to, but rather it's for their own benefit and to have a longer and healthier life. The conclusion may be the most rushed part, but I'll also say that it's probably more important than the body paragraph sometimes, because if you likewise you rush your conclusion, your marker will read it as like your last part of your essay before they evaluate your mark or evaluate entirely. So think about it before you decide to rush off your conclusion. Well, of course this can't be helped, especially if in a time crash. Okay, so after all this, what do you do now? You have your everything written out well, you have your intro, body, and conclusion. So the last step is pretty much to revise and proofread your essays and make sure that it's clear, coherent, and error-free. Obviously, you must check the grammar, spelling, punctuation, and word choice. I mean, if possible, if you're just doing this for practice, I would like you to get someone else to get your feedback, like a teacher or maybe someone that's better or has a better grasp of the English language than you are, to give some feedback. And obviously there's also the main points of using formal and objective tone throughout your essay, because this is a expository essay and not your personal opinion. You're just stating the facts. So use the person if you can, he, she, it, they, and rely on your facts and evidence to support your claims. So the last thing I'll just write is just to revise and review your essay for grammar. Oh no. Okay. For grammar, spelling, punctuation, word choice, sentences, tone, that kind of stuff. And that's about it. So yeah, I'll leave this PDF in my description, in the video description, so you can refer to it if you don't want to read it on your own. But I'll be honest, my handwriting is kind of crap, so just use it as a quick reference. Okay? Yeah, so I hope that you have a good time writing your essays, and best of luck to all the students that are having their examinations in the coming year or whenever you are. Okay, bye guys, thank you.